Bombad Bombad.
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
What is up, Bombad people? I am your detective, Benoit Cable. And we are here today to calculate the terminus of gravity's rainbow. And I cannot calculate said terminus without my Watson, my partner in not crime, solving crime, if you will, Mr. Watson Scotty Jarrow. I don't really know why I said Watson at first. You said you were my Watson, then I called you Watson. It didn't really make sense. I'm sorry. Scotty, how you doing, buddy?
Eat shit.
Yeah. We should do this more often.
We should do this more often.
We should do this more often.
Well, if you don't know already,
I am not eating one iota of shit.
Yes, I like that line. No,
That is my okay. If you haven't guessed yet, guys, we are talking about 2019's blockbuster hit. I mean, this film is still in theaters, Scott.
Isn't that crazy?
I checked this weekend.
Yeah.
I was looking to see if Rise of Skywalker was actually still in theaters, and I was like, Knives Out is still freaking playing.
That's
like
amazing.
Everywhere, and it's really cool, and it's a well deserved.
It is.
It's a well-deserved place.
Can we be honest?
This is a good film.
Can we be?
Yeah.
We can be honest here. I know that. One thing I want to say is
this is an honest space.
I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I haven't seen Parasite. I love Joker. A lot of those movies are very original. But this one I think takes the cake for originality. And like I know it's a whodunit, I get that, and I understand that it's an old film trope, but it has not been executed well probably since Clue in 1989. And then like even that was executed very silly. You know what I mean? This one is like so good and so like
and usually if you get like a whodunit now, it's like a jokey, funny thing.
Yeah, it's campy.
Which this was not shy with the humor. Of course, this film is hilarious.
Oh, it's amazing.
But it's got everything. But again, we'll get into it. But we watched with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and shout out to my brother-in-law if you are listening, Andrew.
Andrew.
Not that I didn't like the movie, but we watched Adam Sandler's seminal hit from last June.
Uncut Gems?
It was a Netflix original murder mystery, and what's funny is
I heard about that.
A lot of the plot points in that are exactly what happened in Knives Out and stuff. It's like a will and a son and all, like a family and just people getting framed but it's making fun of the genre and stuff, and that's usually what you get these days looking at that.
Yeah.
You haven't gotten anything quite like a Murder on the Orient Express, the original. I mean, we had the Murder on the Orient Express remake that came out by Kenneth Branagh, but it really is. But this, like you said, Scott, Joker was
it's rooted somewhere though. It's rooted.
That was a haunting, just insane film.
But if you take
however you feel about it.
But if you take
I haven't seen Parasite yet. I would like to, and I
like I said one thing. If you take the character out of it, if you take the Joker quote unquote out of it, then people wouldn't have saw it. Like, to be completely honest, I mean that would have been the case,
right?
And barely anyone.
Well, it would have been like Raging Bull with clown makeup,
exactly. And then hold on, let me rephrase this. Eric Cotterman recently saw Parasite, and like he's the only person I know that has seen it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, personally know that I've seen it. So like,
right.
I don't know. There's just like something about Knives Out that really attracted a lot of attention. The marketing was incredible. I received the text alerts from Meg, like there literally was like a thing you can sign up for, and like Meg would text me randomly, it's like, oh my god, my family's at it again, and then she would send me photos.
Yeah,
I kid you not, like that was a texting thing, like it was part of it. And like recently, what was discovered, what the Steelbook version. So if you haven't seen the movie, there's gonna be spoilers. But you see was it the Steelbook
heavy spoilers.
or the Target book? Did you see that on Twitter today? Where like if you turn,
yes, and I'm going to bring it up actually in my review that I'm bringing up. But it was dropped on Twitter today. I think I know what you're talking about. It's the 4K Steelbook from Best Buy.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, go for it. What is though? Go for it. Tell us what it is. Drop it, Scotty, because I'll still talk about it.
Well, it's a classic, like, you know, and actually it's not even a classic. It's just like clever marketing. But like the Knives Out thing is like this. You only see it in the movie towards the end of it. It's throughout the entire movie actually, but like the focal point of it is at the end of the movie, and it's these knives all pointing to one little circle. And like if you have it in one position, it just looks like a cover of the book of the actual thing. But if you turn it over and you slide it on there, you actually see the knives are all pointing at the actual person who did it by what you figure out by the end of the movie, which is genius.
And as Ryan Johnson revealed, it's the one person who does not use an iPhone in the film. So
that's true. Yes, that is true.
He ruined it. He ruined it for everybody.
That was on the Vanity Fair thing.
That's awesome.
That was a great little thing.
That was, if you haven't checked it out, I can't believe that thing was 20 minutes because it flew by.
Yes. It was amazing.
Just a dissection of a scene, I think is what it was called. And I didn't know they did that, but I'm going to go watch some of them now if they have more like banked, because that was amazing. But
Jerry, you're the brains behind this episode.
Sir.
Let me be honest with y'all. Jerry, this past week was like, hey, we really need to talk about something like kind of new and refreshing. Maybe jump away from Star Wars for a second. I said, I'm fine with that because I like going off the beaten path. Only because sometimes it's nice for a podcast to switch things up. And for this one, we want to talk about a movie that was made by a Star Wars creator. Therefore, it is not a Lucasfilm adjacent. It is a Star Wars adjacent. Because Lucasfilm would entitle that it's something that was made by Lucasfilm, which it was not. But featured some Lucasfilm people, a part of the crowd, Frank Oz in particular, which I want to talk about later as well. So yeah, Jerry,
fantastic.
Jerry, I guess he's the brainchild, the creator of this idea, and I really am very happy that I got the chance to watch it again, because I only saw it in theaters once, and seeing it again really right before we just started recording this is just, it's like all on my mind. And I also watched Blade Runner the night before this, so I've been on a movie kick.
You've had a good movie weekend.
Oh, it's been amazing. I'm sure you all had those too. But Gerald, why? Tell us why. Why Knives Out? Why to you right now in this moment?
This film has stuck with me in the best way possible. I remember I went to see it by myself in actually the sweater I'm wearing right now as we record.
Nice.
It's not a cable knit, and my cat just tried to destroy it by biting a hole in it. But I'll forgive him. I'm now sitting. I look like the villain, or like someone who would be a suspect currently in a whodunit, because I'm petting a cat like I'm freaking Claw from Inspector Gadget. But next time, Gadget.
Pretty good.
Anyway,
pretty good.
Thank you. Well, all you got to do is just put a little bit of that gravel and pretend like you've smoked cigarettes since you were like 2.
Which you have.
Yeah, it really helps. But anyway. There's something about this film, like you said. There's other films that may be more noteworthy or maybe worthy of accolades or something, but the fact that this one is staying in the pop culture mindset, that there's actually a large contingent of Star Wars fans that are really glomming onto this. There's some who weren't really maybe happy with Rise of Skywalker, but also people who were happy with Rise of Skywalker, who a lot of us, if you listen to this podcast, you probably have a favorable opinion of most of the Star Wars films because, we love that, or you just like listening to us and telling us we're dumb.
Yeah.
But we love The Last Jedi. I've seen Ryan Johnson's other work and stuff, but after watching this film and watching it on home release and all that stuff, I've seen it a couple of times. When I got it on home release, Scotty, I couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah.
This film is... It's the way genre should be done. This is, to me, the epitome of what it's a love letter to genre.
Yeah.
And Rian Johnson himself, and I want to go back and like I've missed his earlier stuff. Like I haven't even seen Brick, and I'm dying to like go and watch that stuff now.
Neither have I. I've seen Looper. I've seen TLJ and this one.
I've seen Looper and Last Jedi, and then this and.
But they're also his films.
I used to think.
Let's be honest. That's that.
Right.
I brought that up later, but like. You watch it, you're like, oh man, I can see, because Rian Johnson's a lot like, I mean, Tarantino and other really well-known directors, they have a crew, and their crew really follow directly to what they usually do, and like the cinematography from the opening reminds me a lot of TLJ, which then reminds me a lot of Looper, just the way it looks, the way it's shot, the way it feels. Steve Yedlin, all those people that are involved with his like posse is just, his cousin does the music for him in this movie. You know, it's just like,
yeah, man.
Oh, that's wild. I don't know that.
The score is phenomenal too.
Yes, it is.
Like I had never really paid attention to any of Nathan Johnson's scores before this, honestly, but because he didn't score Last Jedi.
No,
that's the one film of Ryan's that he didn't score. But Scott, I used to JJ for a long time was my favorite genre filmmaker.
Really,
because he had created. He started on television, you know.
Yeah. You're a Lost
Alias
fan,
and
though.
Lost. Alias and Lost were a couple of my favorite all-time television shows. I loved what JJ did with when he jumped into film, and then he started doing the Star Trek films. I loved what he did with that, mainly because he kind of like put Star Trek over the bones of Star Wars.
Yes, pretty much.
But I used to love what I was like, oh, he's like a Spielberg.
He is too.
But what I'm finding, he's great, and I love JJ. But I think with Knives Out, Rian Johnson has officially, in my book, dethroned JJ as my king of genre.
Yeah.
And Ryan's like a student of genre.
Yeah.
You listen to him, like go listen to him on any podcast, dude. And Ryan, if you're out there listening, you're welcome on the Bombadcast any time, my man. We would love it. He's a cool dude, man.
Yeah.
He's just like, he's a regular, just fun guy. He seems like a guy that we would hang out with, Scott.
Oh, 1,000%.
He's into music too. I listened to a podcast where he was like coming in. They brought him in. It was I don't know what podcast it was, sorry. But he was playing the banjo as he came in, and he kept playing the banjo as the interviewers were trying to bring him in. And like he just had a repertoire with these guys. It was just like, it was so laid back.
Awesome.
And so just refreshing. It was just, I don't know. And I don't know, man. As you can tell, I've got Ryan fever.
You got a crush. He's got a crush. It's okay.
I got Ryan fever, which rhymes with cabin fever. It's actually kind of, maybe we should start it. That's a hashtag right there. Hashtag Ryan fever. It's spreading. Make sure. maybe this isn't the best time to talk about infectious fevers. Maybe. But stay inside and watch Knives Out because it's a great film. But there's so much to dive into this, Scott, and
there is.
It's just been released on home video. We've got physical copies. We've got our digital copies. Whatever you've got. Hopefully by this time you're being able to go to YouTube before or after this and watch my wonderful review of the Knives Out 4K Steelbook from Best Buy because it is one of the best home releases I've seen. I'm going to be honest. It's probably one of the best home releases, Scotty, that I've seen in like
ever
5 years.
Wow.
At least.
Wow.
In half a decade.
That's awesome.
They know how to market a home release, man. But anyway,
can I say a few things?
All that, come in, Scott. Please come in because I am monologuing.
No. One thing I will say is like you touch on everything I wanted to discuss, but like this movie, I feel is going to be looked back on in years from now. Like Rian Johnson has got a career to me, and he said on interviews like people have come up to him and been like, you know, famous directors have spoken to him. He does not disclose names because he's a humble dude, but people have come up to him and been like, you've made some of my favorite movies in the past year. But like, I feel like Rian Johnson, at least for film people, and I know Jerry and I love watching movies and going to see movies, and I know generally everyone who listens to this loves going to see, you know, movies and going to the movie theater. It's something I've always enjoyed doing. And like some of my favorite memories as a kid is going to go see like the James Bond movies with my dad or seeing like the occasional good sci-fi movie. For example, Avatar being one of them. I remember seeing that with my dad. I remember seeing the Star Treks with my dad. I remember seeing Django Unchained, which is not a sci-fi movie, but definitely a stylized movie. And like all these names of directors would always inspire me. And just, Spielberg, Lucas, Tarantino, huge names, Kubrick, Ridley Scott, all these people that I, have grown to really love. And Ryan has just, with every movie he's came out that has been released since Looper, it's just like one movie after another, one movie. It's just like they're all so different from another, and they all are tributes to a genre. And they're not. Star Wars is complicated because Star Wars is several genres, but it's still at the heart space fantasy, and Ryan delivers that really well. Just like he delivers a whodunit murder mystery movie really well, almost written like a novel, with flashbacks and interludes that make sense. That's the thing. We'll get into the structure of this, but like, I don't know. I think this will be regarded as a classic one day, not just because of its style, but regarded as a classic because of how good it is, how well done it is. I don't know. I think this is a fascinating movie, and if you haven't had a chance to listen, or watch it. I'm sorry, watch the movie. Do yourself a favor. Really, it's great.
Like, seriously, there's so much to be said. This movie is not just entertaining, it has something to say, too, and I love that about it. I love that Ryan's stuff, I don't know, he's good at delivering a message, I feel.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you would disagree if you didn't really care for TLJ's message of women existing or anything. They're real, guys. They're real. Get out of the basement once or twice.
Amazing comment.
Yeah, but dude, I don't know. Like what I've noticed with this film is he's brilliant at delivering a message that's not ham-fisted.
Yes,
that's accessible. And if you don't want to accept the message, you actually can watch this movie and miss it.
Yeah,
which sounds horrible.
Yeah,
but there's people who like have. You could like talk to people about just the different things that are going on in the plot and stuff, and they're like, "Well, what?" But just, I don't, like you were saying, Scott. Because of all that, you were saying this could be regarded as a classic. I agree, and I think this will. There's things that like make this feel so contemporary, and like how it's so a snapshot of right now.
It is.
Not to get political or anything, but the Trump era, and stuff. Just like this time in America,
families
the feel of the country
completely different
is
opinions,
represented.
Smartphones.
Yeah. Well, it's represented in this, but yet it feels so timeless at the same time.
It does.
So time will tell, but I'm with you. I want it to keep going. I feel like this is one I'm going to watch forever.
Oh, I hope so.
Because I don't know, man. You think about all these other films that take place in a certain time that we go back and we watch, and they still feel Jurassic Park in '93,
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, and we still go back. Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on, man. And we're just this summer we're gonna have a third installment of the original. Coming back from that too. I mean, people are like if you have a good story, accessible characters, things that people can relate to and connect to, and make it dang entertaining at the same time.
Well, yeah, I just watched
that's a feat.
Blade Runner.
That's a feat.
I just watched the original Blade Runner, and like, of course, I had to text Eric immediately after. I'm like, Eric, I need to see 2049. He goes, no, you need to see it like as soon as possible because of how good 2049 pays tribute to the original Blade Runner. So I don't know. Jerry hasn't seen Blade Runner yet either. So that might be a Star Wars adjacent in the future. It's just like one of those movies that like you end, you're like, dang, just like this movie is too. It's one of the ones you talk about after you leave the theater, not the one that you're like, all right, what's the next thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's for dinner?
Yeah. You could almost call, instead of Star Wars adjacent, we could almost call this 6 degrees of Star Wars.
Yes.
Just because it's like just about every big movie I feel like has 6 degrees of separation before you get to like George Lucas or Harrison Ford or someone,
Totally.
But no, dude, I'm gonna jump on that like probably after this week. I'm pretty hefty into Knives Out this week, guys. Just because I got to get that. Again, hopefully you're watching that fantastic 4K Steelbook review. But let's get into it, Scotty. first of all, I don't. Do we want to talk any about our feelings on TLJ or anything, or what do you think?
I think everyone knows.
Jump into.
I think everyone knows that it was.
Yeah.
It was probably the most well crafted movie now, looking back of it, the sequel trilogy, in regards to its story and craftsmanship and how it's put together. And of course, The Force Awakens did a great job of jolting everyone back into it, but TLJ really cemented it for at least people, like-minded people like me. And The Rise of Skywalker was an amazing movie, but really jumbled. I mean, let's be honest. That's I've been reflecting on that movie for three months now after it's been released, and I still can admit that movie was just like. And maybe it'd be different when I watch it at home, but when I've seen it in the theater 7 times, you're like, that's still that first 45 minutes. You're like, oh my god, there's just like so much talking and plot points and like movement. It's just I don't know. TLJ does not.
The first 45 minutes of Rise of Skywalker, it's all good. I love it so much. It gets easier every time.
Yeah, but still,
the first 40 minutes of Rise of Skywalker is like a fever dream that George Lucas is having, like half naked and sweaty in a bed, like Anakin and
like
Revenge of the Sith. He just like goes, Mom, and like gets up and like he's all sweaty and stuff, and he's got a robot. He actually has a robot hand and all that. So then his wife asks him what's wrong. He's like, nothing. All right. I thought of R2D2 is a great name. Oh wait, I already did that.
That's an excuse.
So
no, yeah. So yeah, TLJ might be honest. I cannot be real with you. TLJ is 100% the reason I went and saw this movie in theaters, like opening weekend.
Yeah,
like it just is. So that I guess that really is a big attribution to it, and the fact that he got a giant movie like TLJ to then kind of not propel his career, but like have him get a steady audience is really clever marketing on his part.
Yeah,
because it will. I will 100% go see every Rian Johnson movie in theaters now. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's now guaranteed.
What are you saying? It got him a big audience. He pissed off every single Star Wars fan.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Just again,
your
mom. Your mom is a woman. She exists. She's there, guys. She's making you pizza rolls right now. You can smell them in the oven. Just go upstairs, take a deep breath, hug her, and go out and get a job. But anyway, no shade. You can like what you like and not like what you don't like. But what cements Ryan as a great filmmaker for me is his ability to perfectly dissect a genre, do a love letter to a genre in which he dissects what it's all about, and then completely reaffirms it at the end. But let's dive into it, man. Okay. Just because, look, we've talked a lot about TLJ. You guys know how we feel.
We always do.
No shade. No shade to those of you who don't like TLJ. But again, go outside, take a deep breath. Maybe listen to our last episode, and if you can get an edible, if you want, that's up to you. Just chill, guys.
Chill out. Okay. So
it's Space Wizards. It's Space Wizards.
I want to kind of just bring up some things I want to bring up. Just what you'll hear throughout the episode, as our audio listeners know, and that we only have audio listeners when I'm talking about. But the discussion's going to go through like how the movie sequence, some really big plot points, the witty writing, the characters, and a modern day mystery, being like including phones and stuff and everything that we would practically use. So that I think that's the hardest thing to write around now, because like it's so hard to write with the usage of phones. Like that's so many movies could not be made, now because of that. But that can be brought up later. So like.
Or they're made in they're like, oh, well, this is set in 1970.
Exactly. We don't have to worry about that. Yeah. So the movie sequence very interesting. It starts off like I don't know. It starts off with his murder and everything, and like the dogs running off from the hill. What a great way to kick off this movie. Honestly,
it's a brilliant shot.
We're not going to try to do. Well, I want to preface this. This will not be a Bombad Buildup level. This episode will.
This won't be our Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull episode.
It will not. It will not. I just want to bring up things that I think are really important, and how like the movie sequenced with like flashbacks thrown in it, and then the big, of course, reveal at the end is just so well done. And I don't know. I think that's really beautiful. And I guess to kind of start it off, like the opening section of the dogs running will then give you a full layout of the house. Like essentially what it does is it cuts to like the foyer area, and then his library, and all these like weird statues in his house, and like
her bringing the coffee like up the stairs to him
that are creaky.
His breakfast.
Yeah,
which I've got my 20-ounce, my house, my rules, my coffee mug with me right now to record. I finished my coffee already, but
do you think?
Anyway, go on. I'm just nerding out at this point.
Do you think Ryan found that like at a thrift store, or do you think he got that made? Honestly, like
I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it yet, but I was thinking that just today. I wonder if they made it specifically for this movie.
Yeah.
It's so kitschy. It's like something you would get in a gift shop
from the 70s.
It's like something you would get at a truck stop.
Yes.
In the middle of like Kansas.
Yes.
You know?
In
like
the 80s.
It's not like
it just doesn't seem
it doesn't belong anywhere. It's just like I'm gonna be like a crass like hey, my house, my rules, my coffee.
Yeah.
Something that would make your Uncle Buck laugh.
Yes.
You know? I almost think they actually created it for this because they sell it. I got mine on the actual Knives Out like shop or something,
which would be great. But it's that idea like that has been.
But just that,
that was a gift. Like I don't know, it's such a cool opening.
That mug made it through the entire movie. Just you're talking about the structure.
Yeah.
By the way, we're talking about structure here. How great is the structure of this a whodunit where there's setup. So much setup. Throughout the movie. You think you get the payoff and then you're like, what the heck's going on?
Yes.
To only have every single thing that was set up. Everything.
I wrote it down
I've seen it like
somewhere.
4 times now, guys. Every single thing set up pays off in the end.
I wrote
beautifully.
Down, a story so compelling he could have written it himself is what one of the news writers say about
I was noticing that today
about what's his face's death. Why can't I remember his name right now? Harlan's death.
Harlan Thrombey.
Yeah. But there's that's what I mentioned. The setup is incredible. Like the whole the reveals and everything. And there's one thing I wrote down. This movie's twist is one of many. Like the main twist that she actually did it, you know. But really, it's not revealed in the regular twist format because she never did it. Like it's like an allusion to the twist. Like oh my god,
it's like a twist.
She killed him, but then he killed himself. But yeah, it's like a twist with a twist. I think I wrote that in there. It's the twist that keeps twisting. It's just.
But it's. But it doesn't. But the insane thing about it is that it twists like a couple of times, but it doesn't break.
No.
Never at any point are you like, wait, now what?
Yeah.
At least I haven't heard anyone yet come out and be like, now that just didn't make sense.
No.
Everyone is like, on the journey you're on, they're all willing to like go, okay, yeah, I'm with you.
See, M. Night Shyamalan, if you've ever seen any of his movies, his twists are good, but they're twists for the bizarre of a twist. They're not a twist for the love of storytelling.
How out of left field can I get?
Yes. This
like
was
his best twists are in his first couple of films.
Of course.
Like, what is it? Sixth Sense and Signs are the 2 best twists I would say of his films.
But they're not even. I mean, they are twists. Don't get me wrong, they are, and they're well done, and they're highly regarded. But this twist is just 14 different twists, and the twist that Benoit Blanc knows that she's been in the presence of the murder the entire time is so clever because of the shoe, which you only get like one sequence of setup, and then payoff.
You see it, and then you're like so scared or something,
and then you forget about it. Like she has. You really do get in Marta's shoes the entire movie. And that's the one thing I think is really well-crafted storytelling, but also just like, I don't know, I'm enthralled. I've seen it twice now, and like the first time, of course, was incredible. The second time, I'm still like, man, how do they do this? Because I didn't only saw it in theaters once, so like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got really good replay value, especially if you watch it with a friend. Like, this is going to be one of those movies that I'm going to watch with my kid, hopefully. Honestly. Like, really, that would make me so happy.
This feels like something, like I've seen a lot of people who missed it in theaters, but have watched, on release. A lot of our podcasting friends, a lot of people on Twitter, are like, wow, I missed this in theaters, but it is amazing.
Yeah.
I saw people saying like, I'm going to rewatch this every fall because it feels like such a fall movie.
It does.
It does, true. Man. This and Frozen 2, and Scotty, we may have to do a Star Wars Jason on Frozen 2. I don't know how if you guys will like completely stop. Oh my gosh, that's a good film.
Yeah.
But those both both of these films feel like fall.
Yeah.
It just like that's just the best way to describe it. It's like this feels like you can smell like people burning leaves, or like you can smell the crisp leaves, the crisp air.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's crazy the atmosphere that this film creates.
Oh, it's great. Well, that's I feel the same way about The Hateful Eight. Like if you watch The Hateful Eight, you feel like you're in that cabin with them. It's cold, you know. And it feels very stale.
That feels like a cold, dead winter, like after Christmas, and like you're stuck in a blizzard.
Yes,
which is no bueno.
But no, I want to kind of.
That is a great film.
Well, it's that same idea, that atmospheric thing, you know. It's movies are really hard about recreating. Star Wars does it, but they do it in a different way, and like. The movie like this, where like the characters are all so believable, people you can literally see from your family placed into some of these characters. You know, like it's so great that each character is flawed, even Marta and even our antagonist too. It's nice to see that, because usually with a whodunit, the antagonist is revealed to be like this hyper genius, super clever, provocateur. But like this
right.
movie, he is that, but he's kind of an idiot too, which you find out how he's an idiot later. And like our main character is a minority.
Which was set up.
Yes.
Sorry.
No, our main character is a minority too, which is a really important thing, because all these upper echelon white people treat her like crap. And it's amazing to see, because like the entire movie made me laugh every time. Like, oh, she's from Peru, Brazil, Argentina, like
it changes every time.
Yes, and they don't care, and they see her as help,
Well, but they feel good about themselves, and this is okay. We're getting into, guys, the message of the film now,
the themes.
but it is the DNA of the characters. The characterizations in the film are so detrimental to what the message is. Which I guess is just, that's the same as everything.
but that's usually overlooked by most. Like Star Wars, you can see a Star Wars movie and you don't leave with the overall themes. My family doesn't,
right?
Like that's and Blade Runner, you can see it and be like, man, that's a good sci-fi detective movie, but you won't leave with the overall theme unless you really take a time to realize it. Jerry and I are both study theology in our own right, but I'm sure we both really like literature in middle school and high school. I mean, because we're fascinated with discussing these overarching themes, both literary and, things that are reflective of our current culture. So I don't know,
we love stories, and
story
is the best way to talk about these things. Any story that is like worth its weight in gold has a message about class, about what's going on in the world with people, like how do we treat each other in the world at this time. That's a big thing in literature. Any story that is worth its weight in gold has something to say. It has a message. Well, and I don't know if you noticed, Scotty, too, about this one. I don't know if you noticed that you were talking about how they keep getting the country wrong.
Yes.
Did you notice that at the beginning, every single one of them said, what is it? How you doing, kiddo? And then they would also be like, I thought you should have been at the funeral, but I was outvoted. Every single one of them says it because they want to make sure they look
good.
But anyway,
no.
That's neither here nor there. Let's get into it,
man.
Hold
on.
What is this?
So, like, in regards to another great character, Benoit Blanc, which I think is interesting, because if it was truly Southern, they would call him Blanc, which is like, that's how they say that word. But anyway, that's one thing I noticed in the movie. I don't know if it's the characterization.
Yeah, in Arkansas, we would have called him Blank, Mr. Blank.
Yeah.
It's Blank, are you here, Mr. Blank?
It's the Cajun.
Benoit Blank?
Yeah.
It's the Cajun thing.
Well,
yeah.
So his introduction, he kind of seems like an ass at first, but he's baiting them, and it's really clever. And like they even make fun of his southern dialect a lot. And like, I'm being from the South. I have family members that talk like that. Just people talk like that here. And like, they're treating him like a minority too, because these are upper echelon people. It's true. They're like, who's this KFC talking dude? Or at least that's what Ransom calls him. But like, no one takes him seriously. They're at least insulting his
intelligence.
Yes.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, okay, you're a detective, but like, okay, Kentucky Fried, detective.
Yeah. So like.
Or Kentucky Fried CSI.
Well, and Jerry, you brought up earlier before we started recording that Benoit Blanc is like this kind of he's like the antagonist for one portion of the movie, but not by the means of like, he's the bad guy. He's just trying to solve this mystery, but it's going to affect Marta in the end, which it doesn't. It's so cool. Well, it's so cool because I can talk about that moment forever.
Let's get into a little bit. I mean, you've got Blanc, right? Or Blanc. And at the beginning, you're like, okay, this guy's going to come in and wreck house. You're like on his side a little bit because you're like, all right, yeah, let's get justice. But as soon as you find out that Marta thinks she killed him, she killed Harlan, and they have that plan, which is that. Not even to mention, Scotty, the relationships in this movie are amazing.
So
the relationship between Marta and Harlan is so sweet.
Oh, it's so sincere.
And so I loved it because you're like waiting. We're so cynical these days. We're like waiting for like some like Jamie Lee Curtis has a line later in the film whenever they're reading the will and they find out he gives everything to Marta. They're like, were you boinking my father?
Boinking.
That's where, and it's like, this film knows... Ryan Johnson knows the psyche of the American people.
Yeah,
he knows the psyche of most people. Like that immediately is where we go, even no matter how pure someone is, which again, Marta being pure but having flaws, like you were saying earlier. But anyway, but I think we're talking about Blanc. Benoit Blanc. But just I don't know, like you're so on his side.
You are.
And then you're like, no. I can't believe I'm rooting against him now. I don't want him to find because Marta's so sweet. Marta's so relatable.
Yep.
And you're like, you don't want him to catch her.
No.
But at the same time, at the very end, you're like, yes. And he's like even better, an even better person than you even thought he was at the beginning.
Well, the best is
him a little
when
bit.
he's in the car by himself. That moment's incredible.
You know what I mean? Gosh.
It feels like it's...
I love that they threw that in there.
Okay, that feels like it's from who's the guy that did Baby Driver? It felt like it was from that kind of movie.
Edgar Wright.
Yes,
that
felt like because that felt like a Simon Pegg monologue.
Sometimes I stand in the middle of the night.
All of that felt like it was from Edgar Wright, and him and Ryan Johnson are best friends. I really do feel like that was either help written or like just thrown in because it's so funny. But one thing I will say, very random, but you brought up the music, the part or the thing he was singing, but like the use of music's really interesting because it's orchestral pieces, and then like you'll hear the occasional like rock and roll song. Like the song they ended with is very weird. It's Sweet Virginia by the Stones, and I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know why, and I looked up the lyrics, and I've loved that song since I was a kid, but like I'm like, why did they choose that of all songs? So I don't know. It's about drug trafficking, that song is, but it's just funny that that's nothing to do with the plot. So if I actually had a question for Ryan Johnson... I'm trying to remember
something about the lyrics, because I was listening to it a little bit, or last week, and I thought it had something that was basically like maybe getting something... taking something from people who don't deserve it, or something. Maybe that's a good point. Maybe is that? Am I?
I could pull the lyrics up
because I mean you can if you want, but and if we're back on that, like you can pull the lyrics up. But I really want to dive into Scott. We haven't really stated the full message of the movie, like in like a mission statement almost kind of thing.
No, you do it, Gerald, because I know you've analyzed this movie a lot more than I have. You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
And they were saying this before, and I mean, there were a lot of clickbaity titles of articles before the movie came out. Anything related to The Last Jedi is kind of real hot button.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot of clicks. So there was one where there was an article about someone saying that Ryan Johnson wrote this movie, had inspiration for this movie while... or because of Last Jedi trolls, and he's been working on this for he's had this idea for this film for 10 years. He's talking about it's been in his head for a long time.
He wrote,
but maybe he kind of formulated. He finally got the message, like we're saying, to get behind, and it's kind of a message of. And he said it's a message of, and however many of you guys listen, you got two white males here.
Yep.
Two straight white males.
And he himself is a white male as well.
He himself is a straight white male. Yeah.
So
and he grew up. He actually grew up religious, Scotty.
Oh, I did not know that.
I remember him saying on a thing. So he grew up in church and stuff. But it is a film about white privilege.
Yeah.
And it is about, and it's less about that. They were really saying that. And I listened to him again on the podcast recently where he was playing the banjo, where he talked about it's more about how we don't look at people anymore, how we don't see, like we don't see anyone else's point of view except our own.
Yeah.
And you can, I think we'll use the white privilege mission statement right now, but it's more about like, what is a true kind person and what is like, what are some of the ugly things of society that we kind of let slip by that we may have in ourselves that are represented by these characters? And each one of the characters of the Thromby family represent a different form of white privilege.
Oh, it's amazing. It's
fantastic.
Well, like, can I get into some characterizations? You've got
yeah, man, let's do it right now. That the mission statement is this movie is about white privilege. It's about treating people fairly, regardless of what the color of their skin is.
Yeah, no, of course.
It's about realizing where your biases are and overturning them.
Well, even
to believe in people.
Even not. It's funny because they even disrespect authority because of their upper echelon and richer ways. They they obviously don't respect the both detectives and Benoit and Marta for that matter. So it's not even a play on just white privilege. It's a play on like just matter of respect people are losing towards people of sincerity. I mean, like most policemen should be approached unless it's one that's obviously taking advantage of their power as a serviceman. That person is a serviceman to our state, and they don't approach him that way. They don't approach the lawyer that way.
Right.
They pretty much
they give them the respect until they're in trouble.
Yes,
it seems,
or they're mad.
It's almost like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good observation, Jerry, because that really goes into our next point. Because like I don't know if you've ever seen Always Sunny, but the characters in Always Sunny are the same exact way.
Yeah.
They don't care about the outcome. They care about in the moment,
right,
and what they can get out of the moment. And that makes that show funny. But if you reflect on it, it's what makes these characters so despicable, the ones in this movie. Because you're like, right, man, you can see it. Like, you understand that. Like, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. If a woman that was a handmaiden or a nurse to my father all of a sudden inherited all of his, riches, if he even has any, you know what I mean? Just that idea. I've been pretty pissed off, but they're mad for the wrong reasons. They're mad at a selfishness. They're also mad at the fact that she is not of the same race or social class as her, which is very interesting. And like that's the first thing they said. They literally one of the young man, whatever his name is, the boy, I guess the 15-year-old.
Yeah, I forget the name of. They just keep calling him the alt-right.
Trump.
Troll.
Yeah,
one of the best. Benoit has all the Daniel Craig has all the best lines in this film.
It's amazing.
Where he says, what the Nazi child masturbating in the bathroom over
so
her.
Good, so good. No,
it was
well, like. He calls her an anchor baby, which, if I'm not mistaken,
anchor baby
is like
You're sleeping with my grandfather, you dirty anchor baby. Which is,
and then
I feel bad saying that.
Oh, of course.
Here with our, because like he says that, and I'm like, holy crap, dude, really?
And this poor girl,
that is such an old timey that's classic racism.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's just like. Why do you even have to call it that?
No.
Why do you even have to bring that up?
Jamie Lee Curtis's character, I cannot remember her name to save my life, but she calls her a little bitch.
Oh,
and then everyone starts calling her a little bitch. And then you see this characterization of who's
the sexism and
who's
the
Instagram model? Who's the Instagram influencer? What's her name? I forget.
The one who has the Goop company.
Yes.
Joni is her name. It's I'm trying to think of the actress's name, but
her
she's
approach
brilliant.
is very much how someone like that would approach someone. They're like, no, we'll just sit down and talk about this in a selfish way, not in I need to.
I love it. She was like, I'm not on Twitter anymore. Send me DM me on Insta.
Yes. And Meg is the, and I know,
but she's still
Meg.
suckling on the family and yeah. Meg's what the one going for the one who's like, I'm going for the they call it the SJW degree, which I don't know how many of us who've defended TLJ have been called an SJW. But to hear that come out of Chris Evans' mouth was like
pretty funny,
crazy, but also just the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, just that she's like on Marta's side. She was the one who was the closest on Marta's side, you think, at first. And she's still, she's the one who I feel like most of us can relate to. Because I feel like most of us want to be kind and respectful to everyone. We want to be more learned. If I am any one of those characters, and I know I am, I know I have parts of each one of those.
Of course, I understand that.
It's if you are mostly white, grew up conservative or something, you have a little bit of this stuff, and you don't know.
No, you don't
until
know.
you like
reflect.
You got to pull the wool. You've got to like look at it from another perspective, and it's hard to do.
Of course,
because it feels like it makes you feel like you're a terrible person. But I think if I'm any one of them, I'm her, because you want to like be understanding, but at the same time, she got scared and still sort of tried to turn on her. But at the end, she's, you can tell she really feels terrible at the end and stuff. She tries to make recompense for what she did.
Yeah.
But she's still, it's still just like, it's the person who, I think that's the one that most of us can relate to. It's we want to be understanding, but if things get hot and we don't know how we're going to react in the situation,
Well, I like Walt's character for
that's something
that
to
reason
still
too.
work on.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Gerald.
No, you're good.
Well, like Walt's character is very similar. Like you feel bad for him because he's obviously can't walk well, and it's someone that you can kind of like have sympathy for because he's kind of just following in his dad's footsteps, but not successfully. And like I don't know if anyone else on this podcast has, I don't have any issues with my dad, but sometimes we don't get off on the right feet, on certain things. So like that's something I can relate to is like, I want to make him proud. I want to do the best I can. And the movie rights things is really interesting because that, for a young person, I think that would be a great idea. But for someone who wants to keep the novel a novel, that's an important thing too. So I don't know.
Right.
It's
his legacy and stuff, and just
he doesn't want to make money.
Finish your point.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He wants to make them a movie for his stories to keep getting told, but also it'll bring him a lot of money because he's the one that'll inevitably inherit it. And the fact that Marta gets all of it is so good. And I don't know. I think the storytelling is just so well done, and like the characterization is great. Like when Benoit is interviewing them, he baits them to like confess. And funny, the women at least were smart enough not to say anything, but the men are like, oh my God, he's a total asshole, and just like, Walt's a complete idiot. He can't handle that. He's just living in his dad's shadows. And then they're just talking bad about
they're
each
all
other.
just like talking.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that's,
and you find out like how much every one of them is riding the coattails.
Yes.
So they're all like, yeah, we're self-made.
Oh yeah.
Which is like, there's a direct reference to a certain person who, again,
the $1 million.
We're not trying to like call anyone wrong or anything. Again, it's hard when you're talking about films like this, talking about things, but there's certain people who say they are self-made who got $1 million loans.
Yes.
Which is an actual line in there.
Yes.
And it's crazy, man.
Well,
just the characterization, it's so well done.
It's in each person has their own little moment, and like the fact that Harlan's mom is still alive is hilarious because you got to think about how old that woman is.
Oh,
and my favorite line in the whole movie is, "Do you want dinner to eat, Nana?" That's what Walt says. "Are you hungry? Do you want dinner?" And like screaming at her. And then what's her face walks?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, she's like she ate the whole salmon plate or whatever earlier.
She ate the entire salmon spread. She's good.
That's so funny.
And they're all like, but what I love about that, because it's equal parts. What Ryan does is he creates an atmosphere that almost feels like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, but Clue, but at the same time is serious and has so much like weight. And
I'm sorry, that line is hilarious. Do you want to?
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, He also
while
brings
we're
up
on
point,
the go ahead, sorry.
Well, and I think you're going to say this too. I just know how your brain goes, Gerald, because we're on the same wavelength as always. But
Usually,
no one consoles her at all, and you notice that. Like,
no,
Benoit's like, I bet no one's spoken to you, and she doesn't say anything back.
I forget the exact wording, but it's very Southern gentleman.
Yeah,
and I love it so much. Benoit Blanc at the end of this movie ends up coming in and he ends up being the voice of reason.
Yeah.
He ends up being like the guy who it's like, listen to this guy.
Of course.
This guy is how we should be. This is how we should be acting. We should be treating people with respect, no matter what their age is and all that.
Yeah.
But just, the fact that basically everyone kind of writes her off and no one knows anything about her. At the beginning, it's funny at the beginning.
Yeah.
Then Benoit comes up to her and is just like,
so kind.
You'll excuse me if I don't judge your family too harshly, if I'm the first person to tell you sorry for the loss of your son.
Yeah.
And it hits you because, man, I've lost 2 grandparents to Alzheimer's, and it reminded me of them because she's just there.
Yep. Not saying
but they're
anything.
still there.
Yeah.
It's like you feel like they may not be there, but they are.
Yes.
And it really spoke to me, and just the whole I don't know, man, the whole idea of I just noticed it today, Scotty. There's a shot at the end whenever Benoit tells them, like, Marta's about to apologize and give everything back. And Benoit like steps in for her and says, "No, you're not getting a single cent. You're all vultures, knives." He's like, "Knives out, beaks bloody." And that's the moment in which all of us should stand up in the theater and go, "That's the name." He said the name of the film. That's the name. That's what you do whenever they say the name of the film in the film. But he's like, "Knives out, beaks bloody." Everything Benoit Blanc says in this film is amazing.
It's great.
But anyway, he goes in the big spill, and then like they say something like basically they're not getting anything, and they're all pissed off.
Yep.
And there's a close up on Nana's face, and she just has a smirk.
Oh, I didn't notice
because
that.
she's like I just noticed it today.
That's good.
Right before it's so subtle, but it's so good. It's so good because she's just like, she has a subtle little just like corner of her mouth goes up because she's like,
yeah,
you know what? He's right.
Yeah.
These kids have no respect. It's time they actually made something of themselves.
Exactly. Well,
and
I want to kind of, since we've brought up almost every character now, I want to go back to Ransom, because Ransom, of course, is the epitome of a bad guy, and that's how he should be. He's the antagonist.
Yeah.
But like he's
like the bad guy. He's like the bad guy in Frozen 1.
Oh,
spoilers for that.
Yeah.
He's the love interest who turns against everyone.
Well, also he personifies all of their arrogance in a one, but he's really good about manipulating it and making him seem like the. I mean, I wouldn't even say good guy, but he seems like he's the convincing
I wanted to
one.
be on his side so bad whenever like he picked her up after the family was surrounding her.
Because he kind of saved her.
It's like, yeah, there you go, Captain America. He's just misunderstood.
And the fact that he gets her to eat all the food and then, confess without throwing up everywhere is amazing.
Oh man,
God, it's good.
Yeah, like you said, he's smart, but he's dumb too. He's like dumb. He's a smart, thick person.
Yes,
like he just, I don't know. It's he almost gets it. He gets right there.
He was so close.
But I don't know, and I don't know if you agree with me. I think his fatal flaw is it's what Benoit Blanc brings up. It's what he brings up in his big. What you have in every murder mystery.
Yes.
The big story,
Dude,
the big reveal at the end of what exactly happened.
20 minutes.
Which is what?
I was 20. That reveal was 20 minutes long. It does not feel like that.
You are like enthralled the entire time. You're like, because it's like we talked about earlier. It's set up, and that's just like.
And you think the twist already happened
from there on out,
and then more twists happen.
Yeah.
And then the reveal of the other twist is just, oh my God. It's great.
Oh, it's amazing. But
back to what he said.
I don't know if you agree with me, but Ransom's fatal flaw. And after this, we can go talk about that amazing before the will reading scene and all that stuff. But I think his fatal flaw is that he thought Marta was going to be as. It's like the thing. It's like okay. I'm going to bring up a nerd movie.
Do it.
That everyone, if you're a nerd, most nerds think that this should be like the best film of all time. But The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
Where Batman is talking to Joker, like Joker is trying to get basically the boats to blow themselves up. He's like, you thought you would win because you think in the inside everyone's as broken and twisted as you or something. Or he's like, everyone's as dark and twisted as you. He's like, his fatal flaw was he thought that Marta was going to make the selfish decisions he made. Mm-hmm. And it's
so good.
So amazing. And again, we're gonna have to get into Marta's character we've talked a lot about Marta.
Yes.
But just Marta is
so pure,
flawed, but amazing.
But flawed
just
in and how a human should be, because she didn't mean to kill him, and she didn't kill him because he messed with the vials, and he received the amount. Right. And a rational human being would go home and cry about the situation, or cry, at the drop of the heartbeat if someone they love and they took care of would be dying, and it's her. She's worried about her job, her integrity. She's worried about how the family's going to react. She's going to go to jail. Her mom's going to get exposed. She's got so much weight on her shoulders. But yeah, no, Jerry, back kind of to the reveal by Benoit. It's so pure. It's like so well done, and like there's so much setup and then closure for it. And like the part that made me tear up this time, and I think for you it does the same. Was when Marta,
almost every time,
whenever it's like, no, you really are a good nurse, because she realized the viscosity, or was it is that the word? She realized the density of it, and she knew that this was the
viscosity
of
the liquid, the slightest viscosity.
Yeah,
and it's just the whole thing. How Ransom tried to kill his grandfather by switching the vials so she would give him a larger dose of morphine and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
He switched the vials. She still instinctively gave him the right medicine and only noticed the vials afterwards.
Yep. So good.
And again, he says, if he would have listened to you, if Harlan would have listened to you, he would be alive.
Yep.
And it's just all of that. And you go, you did. I'm about to cry right now because it's so.
It's beautiful.
You see this person who is a legit good-hearted person who had this amazing relationship, the sweetest relationship I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Yeah.
A very real relationship.
Yeah.
Of this elderly man and this nurse
Caretaker.
who it's so pure and it's so kind. They're friends. They have such a good relationship, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
And to know that she didn't kill him.
Yeah.
That if he really had listened, he would still be here, which is still a hard thing. It's just everything about that is just the good prevailing. It's good prevailing in a way in that she knew, even though Ransom tried, it's still just, man.
Can I say one thing? I don't know if it's maybe a placebo of it, or maybe it's just me seeing it, but like it looks like in the painting it's almost like every act they cut to the painting of Harlan, and each one kind of reflects the thing that had just happened prior. And like the first one, he's just got like a straight face, like nothing's happening. The next cut is like him almost looking frowny, and then the next cut is him smiling after Marta gets her, after Marta gets, revealed to be the good person on top. You know what I mean? Like the wholesome person.
I don't think I've noticed that.
Look for it. I'm gonna really maybe after this I'll just go scroll through it, because it looks like the face changes to me, and it might just be me putting that visual on it, but it kind of goes back to it. Like I'm sure if he hadn't done what he did, and he did it in a very style, Harlan did it in a very style that he would have done it. That's why that line is incredible. Yeah. It's a twist that, a movie could have been written by him, or a book that could have been written by him. The story is,
or the man practically lives in a clue board and stuff is another great reference to that. It's
so good. And like, I don't know, like the story's so complex, and then it's so not complex, and you take a step back. And the fact that what was the other lady? Who's the one that kind of was the help? What was her name?
Fran.
Fran. She ended up dying.
Fran was the character's name, and
she died.
She ends up
dying.
And that's the big thing. That's how they get. That's one of the best things. The best reveals is how they. This is just so masterfully put together.
Oh, it's
There's so many things.
Well done.
There's one big payoff it's like not even a huge payoff. It's big in that how it comes back into play in the movie, but it's such a passing like mention at the beginning, yet it's so sweet.
Oh yeah,
of a payoff at the end. But with Fran, just the fact that she finds out or she sees Ransom doing what he's doing, and she's trying to let people know, and she tries to blackmail him, all that stuff, and he tries to kill her again. He ends up killing her just to get him. I don't know, to get him to confess was great. Oh, that was so good.
Hugh did it.
He confesses because he's like, oh, she lies about her.
Yep.
Which is, I just now thought today, like, she goes, yes, doctor. Oh, that's good news. Thank you, doctor.
Yes.
And she hangs up.
Yes.
I'm like, I wonder what the doctor's like. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's awesome.
But like, just that the way she plays him is amazing. And that, like, so then he feels like, well, I guess except I didn't really do anything, except I guess I killed Fran, but except I didn't.
Yeah.
And stuff. And then my man, I got to send that podcast to you where Ryan's talking about this, because they talk about the viscosity of the projectile vomit that she like. Oh. And such a great, again, one of the best things about her character is that he wanted to give her a tell when she lied so that she couldn't lie.
Yeah.
And the idea of her, like, she vomits every time she lies.
So clever.
It's clever, and it's like, wow, she can't. Like, she can't do anything because it's so visceral. But the fact that it's so sweet, it's such a sweet, like, it sounds bad to say that about this projectile vomit, but to see him get hit with, they made it like old school chunky vomit to give him, because he does that big long rant about how I'm going to get out of this because I have the right lawyers. I'm just going to get a slap on the wrist.
White privilege.
Using his privilege.
Yeah.
His white privilege, man. His privilege, his rich privilege, whatever. And just, she projectiles his face, man. And just the look.
Well.
And the Noah Segan going, that means she's lying, is the best. Oh, this movie is great.
Well,
I'm just go.
No. I want to bring up the part where they show the toxicology report, and that Fran was, he meet me here and do all of that. And the way it's shot is incredible. Like the part where she's about to go, or where Ransom's about to knock out Fran. It's like shot like a 40s movie, like a crazy zoom. Then the next shot's like the body on the ground, and then it like blacks out, cuts to another shot of her like passed out. It's like he did it in such a. And that was almost Tarantino-esque, just like taking that old genre and like
so many great
throwing it in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
One thing I think the best twist. Do you have a favorite twist? Honestly, I know mine off the top of my head. If you want to think about yours, mine was the
go ahead with yours. I think I know mine, but it's not like a crazy twist.
Mine's the toxicology and like the viscosity reveal. That was genius. The fact that like she did pick up the right one and the labels were just changed is so freaking smart. God, I loved that. That's so well done. Let's be honest. That's just like so genius.
I think I have to second that a little bit.
Yeah. What's the other one you like?
I think that's but if I had to choose another one, it's the one I was talking about earlier, a reveal that is not a huge, big setup in the beginning, but it is a setup where her and Harlan are playing the game up in his study, and he's talking about Ransom.
Yeah, he is.
Because they had just had the fight that night, if you think. They just had the fight about the will. He had told him that he's giving everything to Marta, and none of them are getting anything because he's done them a disservice by doing that for them their whole lives.
Yeah.
Which you see the results of. Again, we just talked about how horrible these people are. But he says, what is it? He's like, he's a lot like me. Basically, Harlan sees a lot of himself, he's like, and I forget exactly what he says, but he mentions something about, smart and as a whip and all this stuff and
the
brave
toy.
Or whatever.
Is that the line you're getting to?
But he's like, but he wouldn't know the difference between a real knife and a real knife and a prop.
Yeah, stage knife.
A real blade
stage
and a prop knife.
Yeah.
And a stage prop. Yeah, a real knife and a stage prop. And to have him grab one of those knives off of that display at the end. And just that slow motion, everything about that is brilliant because you're horrified.
Of course.
You don't know what's coming.
No.
You don't think about that because that's just a line at the beginning.
Yep.
But then as soon as he goes down and like she's there and then you see they hold there on their faces and she doesn't react how someone who's stabbed reacts. And then he pulls the knife and does it a couple times and finds out it's the thing and goes, well, shit.
Yeah, I think it's picked up. No.
That's such a sweet, sweet moment, man. Because it's like, he's like, because he goes, well, in for a penny. and stuff because he's like, well, I'm going down anyway.
Yes, exactly.
For murder. It just shows again how good of a bad guy.
Yes.
Chris Evans, that man is versatile.
Well,
he can play. He can play so much.
The biggest twist of the movie, can I tell you but that's a good one. Don't get me wrong. That's honestly might be my favorite line of the whole movie.
Oh, it's in light to everything else. I just love it so much because it's so niche.
The real twist of the movie,
I don't know. I love that.
To me, is the fact that it takes place, all around Marta. That's the real twist. I mean, when I went to the theater, was not expecting her to be the central character. I thought it'd be about each character's motives and what they did throughout the night that would then lead, like Clue does, to the mystery, quote unquote. But at no point did I think, man, Marta's the main character. You know what I mean? Until I was sitting in the theater.
You go into it thinking Daniel Craig is at least.
Yes, and that's the biggest twist. The marketing twist is the best. And to kind of go back to your point about the ending shots, to me, the Vertigo, like all those shots of the knife and them falling, like those shots are so stylized and so well done that it's comparable to the Luke and Kylo Ren scene almost. Just like the way how epic it is. It's huge. Oh, it's what you're building up to. It's
insanely epic. And just who thought of that knife wheel idea?
Oh my God. So cool.
Because whenever I first saw it, I was like, why is there a knife wheel in this? I'm like, okay, it's Knives Out. There's a knife wheel. And then I don't know. It ends up making sense with the whole house. We see the whole house. And just knowing Harlan and all that. But it's a brilliant plot device too, to have that.
Exactly.
It's brilliant set dressing.
Yes.
Is what it is.
I want to get to that.
It's set dressing that is also storytelling.
Oh, they're amazing. The sets are incredible. And like how the sets are shot, and like you feel like you're just sitting in that room with them because of the way their eyes are facing, how they're talking to each other. You could figure out the layout of the room just from watching it without seeing like an overhead. I could listen to Ryan Johnson talk about blocking shots for like a couple hours, and I probably end up by the time you listen to this, I will have already done that. But I just love hearing him talk about blocking. But like, it's something I haven't thought about in a long time, but I love it. Well, like the falling part is amazing, and the vertigo shots, that's when the dolly moves and you zoom out, or when the dolly's moving in and when you're moving out and the dolly the dolly's moving out and then you zoom in. It like stretches the background. And the character like looks like they're becoming part of it. And they did two of them with her like reaching out like no, and then the next one's him like going down with the knife, and then the part of them falling onto the ground is incredible. I don't know how they shot that. And
and they even there's brilliant shots of Daniel Craig going for him, and then like the detectives are both like, one of them the one who's been recording the whole time, the guy who's the fan of the books and stuff, is just like in shock, and the other guy's just like, he's in shock too, but him and Benoit are both trying to go for it, and it's like they're not close enough, and it's
you're dying.
That whole sequence.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's great.
It's brilliant until that edge. You're like so nervous until the reveal, and then you're just laughing your butt off.
It's amazing
because you're like, this butthole here thought he could get away with another murder.
Exactly.
And it's like it's just so sweet. It's like he got what he deserved.
Well, he
got projectile chunky vomit in the face,
and then he fails.
He got completely humiliated.
Yep. And I love how the ending has every character get their just dues. Like, you know, it's so good.
We haven't even talked about, I forget his name, but the character who's Jamie Lee Curtis's husband.
Cheating?
I know he was on, what's that?
When he was cheating, or his character in general?
Yeah, well, just like he was a brilliant character. Every character in this film,
that's amazing.
You could almost do an entire episode, or half an episode on these characters alone.
Totally,
they're amazing, and but just he gets his just rewards. I don't know if you noticed, Scotty. He's trying to pay the policemen who are taking ransom to the car.
Oh, I did not notice
the squad
that.
car. He pulls out a wad of cash and he's like trying to talk to him. And it's like he's trying to buy his son out of trouble.
Oh,
and it's like every last bit of this is like none of these people have learned a lesson except probably the daughter of the girl who
Meg,
or the woman who owns Meg, Meg, who owns whose mom
influencer.
Joni owns she's like the married into the family, but is still like siphoning off of stuff. And there's actually, we don't even have time to get into this, but there were like plot points that he took out of the film because it just was too much.
Yeah.
That revolved around Walt.
Oh.
And Joni, about how her skincare company was failing because people were getting rashes.
Oh, wow.
And they'd been under forever because they had set it up where like Benoit had like used her product and gotten a rash to prove that like it had a rash, that her company was doing that. So he had the proof.
Wow.
But also Walt, he was wearing a boot. You couldn't see it in the film, but he was wearing a boot, and it was heavily implied that he was involved in some shady stuff, shady business dealings, which is why he was trying to get his dad to sell.
Oh.
Because there's like a scene they cut where like his wife Donna was going home, and Benoit, he said they never filmed it. He said, I watched the scenes, and there's commentary with the scenes.
Oh, I bet that's
which is
great.
why I love Rian Johnson.
Yes.
Ryan Johnson knows how to save the bonus features, man, and Ryan Johnson knows how to do it, man. You can find that T-shirt on TeePublic, the Bombadcast at TeePublic. But he talks about how they didn't film this last part, but basically Benoit gave his trench coat to a big, rough-looking police officer and told him to go wait on the porch and look menacing. And she shows up and thinks it's a guy there to, like, cap him again or something.
Oh, wow.
Because he says he was in a bike accident. That's why he's using the cane.
Oh.
Again, this isn't used in the thing, man. But, like, it heavily implies, like, I don't know many bike accidents that happen at 3 a.m. or something. And it's just like, basically he got capped in the knee.
That's good.
It's like there's wrinkles upon wrinkles in this thing that, like, you didn't need that.
No.
But it could have even worked still.
It could have, yeah.
It would have still worked.
A 3-hour movie.
This film is almost flawless, dude.
It is.
Those scenes, you could tell. I was glad. I was like, these definitely didn't belong in the final cut.
No, but
because it's just so tight.
Very well thought out, and like the every character, like you said, getting their just due and their everything they needed, to learn at the end of the movie they did. And like, the funny thing is, this is kind of random, but Harlan, whenever he's like showing Marta the pictures of the cheating occurring, he shows his like Windows XP computer that's obviously very old. Do you know what I mean? And like,
which is what he would have, right?
Perfectly characterizes, every character, and like
every one of them.
He writes the secret notes to Jamie Lee Curtis, and I don't know. I could talk about this forever, but we kind of have to wrap it up real quick.
If we can touch on, if we could touch real quick on the secret note, just the fact that her husband. Again, I'm gonna have to look up names and stuff. I'm gonna have to start doing my names and stuff before. I forget what his character's name was. I know he used to be on Hawaii or Miami Vice back in the 80s and stuff.
Don Johnson.
He's Don Johnson. Don Johnson's character, he's amazing in this film. But the fact that he goes to Harlan's desk after Benoit's there, opens it, and like looks to the letter.
Nothing's written.
Walt didn't show him the letter. Or not Walt. Harlan didn't show him what was in the letter. He opens it and sees, it's blank.
Oh, it's genius.
But he doesn't know. It's a mystery writer.
Yep.
And she says it's a game, and she like uses the lighter, and it's like invisible ink.
Yep.
I was like, it's brilliant.
So good.
Such great characterization that he's too dumb to realize that it's that's what it is.
Of course.
And just that he does get that. Just to leave it too, like she just looks at him and he just knows.
Yeah, he knows. The cigarette hanging out of her mouth, shocked.
Oh my gosh! What a phenomenal cast! Have we even talked? I mean, we've been talking about the characters, but have we talked about?
No, but the cast is incredible, and the thing is to kind of start. I mean, end where we started with the whole "my house, my coffee, my rules" is just. I don't know. That's one of my favorite parts of the whole entire movie, and she's sitting there with the blanket over her shoulders, sipping it on his balcony, looking down at the people.
It's one of and she's got everything else covered. If you notice, her fingers cover every word except for the "my house."
Oh, I did not notice that
when she takes a drink. So that's all. The only words you can fully see is "my house," and I'm gonna just say it. I know it's only people get kind of antsy when you're like, "This is the best thing of all time."
Of course,
when a new thing comes out. But for me right now, it's the best final shot of any film
you've seen
that I've seen in a while.
Yeah,
I agree. For me, it's my It's at least my favorite final shot, just to set up that coffee mug is like basically the second shot after you see the dogs. You see it getting set onto the tray, to then finally end with. I mean, God bless your hearts if. To our audio listeners, I don't know what just happened, but Scotty's room just went dark and the purple lights came on. I think I'm keeping him. Am I interfering with some special time or something?
No, it's a timer I've set for 10:30 and I completely forgot about it. Let me get the lights back on.
Oh man,
that is funny.
It just hasn't ever happened before. No, like whoa, what's going on?
That is hilarious. Wait,
that's awesome.
We'll be good in a second. They all come back on.
There
Sorry,
we go.
Jerry.
Scotty and his smart house over there.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Okay, anyway.
I'm over here living in the 1940s in my house. We just got the Wi-Fi.
Our first time getting it. No.
Sorry.
No. Back to your point though. Like it's the my house thing is just so important, and like that's one of those moments where they set up and then there's a payoff, and it's just like so subtle. Your brain doesn't register it the first time. I mean, you probably do when you're a big movie fan, but if it's something you don't analyze, like I try to look at every shot and find the smallest details when I first watch a movie, and it kind of ruins my movie experience, but that's just who I am. And then by the end of it, when it makes sense with the mug, and it's just so good. And like funny enough, Fran spills the plate, but she's not worried about, she's not worried about the body in front of her. She's more worried about the plate in front of her, and she goes to put it down.
Yeah,
and then it cuts.
She's like trying to catch the coffee,
which is interesting.
Have you ever spilled hot coffee on yourself?
No,
though it's like very like it is an out of body experience where you're like
can't let go.
You're more concerned about making sure the rest of that coffee doesn't end up on you than you are whatever is. There could be a dead man who just slit his throat in front of you, and you're like,
coffee.
I don't want to end up like that old lady at McDonald's. It's just, it's insane. Which again, that's horrible of me to make light of that. But dude,
I love this movie, man.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's, man. Again, and we're winding this down, guys, for sure. This is one of those films that come out, and it's just forever. It's forever in the, I don't know. Maybe it's just that it's in the zeitgeist right now. Mm-hmm. But again, like we were talking about earlier, I really feel like I agree with you, Scott. I think this is going to stand the test. It feels time. It feels of a certain time and timeless at the same time.
It does.
And I'm sorry. Again, I know I've been ragging on you guys who didn't like TLJ, but to see so many people talk about Rian Johnson not understanding how stories work and how to like compose film, I don't think you really watch many other genres of film, maybe, or mini film, or and that sounds super elitist. I don't want to be gatekeeper or anything, but just like, I mean, look at this man's body of work, and tell me that he does not know what he's doing.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, his Rotten Tomatoes score isn't like a 99 or something insane, like something that's unheard of. Like classic movies,
it's something that doesn't happen.
Yeah, 97, and then the audience scores a 92. Like you never see that. Like that's for critics.
That's a good score.
Everyone to agree. That's just me though, and I never try to base anything off that opinion, but I really do think it's somewhat important. Like for something so new. This is not Casablanca. Right. This is not Wizard of Oz. This is so new.
No.
I don't know. That's what I find that very interesting.
It's very interesting, and it's why we can get excited because the adventures of Benoit Blanc are going to continue.
Yeah.
We have confirmation now. Ryan's making Knives Out 2.
So awesome.
And we've got a 007 movie coming out. This is he just confirmed on SNL that this is his, and I think he confirmed it before. This is Daniel Craig's last Bond.
Wow.
Like he's done, which is kind of crazy. It's the end of an era.
Mm-hmm. Since 2005. Craig's
my favorite Bond.
Me too.
It's just, he was honestly the first one I got into.
He's the first one that gets hurt. That's like my biggest thing. Every other Bond's like
he's just
unscathed.
They give him more characterization. They made him more of an actual person.
Exactly.
And less of a comic book hero, which is, they all have their place. I love the Bond films, but I think I'm more excited to see him continue as Benoit Blanc And from what I hear from Ryan Johnson, from other people, Daniel Craig is hilarious and is just like a fun, jovial person.
I bet.
And I want to see more of that. And man, can he kill a deep was Atlanta Southern draw or something like.
Very
I think it was.
well.
Oh, they said it was like a Mississippi draw that they ended up settling on, some part of Mississippi.
So
that has a very specific.
Real quick, just to kind of like get into a statistic thing, like these are the top, maybe 10. I can't really count real quick. 10 movies of 2019, and like based on the tomato reading, tomato meter, whatever they call it. And I don't base anything off this generally, but it's still something really weird to reflect on. Because if you think about it, what we got going for it. Parasite, original movie. I haven't seen it. I bet it's fantastic, though. I have no doubt it's good. Avengers Endgame, riding on the coats of 20 other movies. Let's be honest. Us, right. I don't know anything about that film. I really can't say anything about it. I don't know anything about it.
I enjoyed it, but it was, Get Out, I think, might have been like people's favorite of his,
so it's still riding on the coattails of a really well-known Jordan Peele, right? Okay. Toy Story 4.
His big one was Get Out.
Franchise. Huge franchise. Let's be honest. Humongous franchise. Very well-known. First animated movie of all time. Toy Story 4, 97%. The next one preceding it is Knives Out. Completely original. Not rooted in anything known. Kind of like Parasite. Very independent of all these other ones. And
it was like only rooted in like the whodunit genre.
Yeah.
And having just that.
Ryan Johnson.
But it's just like a genre.
But also Ryan Johnson being either so loved by critics or so hated by fans from TLJ. You would think a movie like that would still fail. Only because there was so much anger and animosity towards it. But then the next one's Irishman, The Farewell, Booksmart, Little Women, Marriage Story. All great movies. But Irishman's Scorsese, and you can't. I mean, that's just a mob movie, And then everything else following it. Great. Some of them are good original stories, but at the same exact time, it's like, I don't know, man. It's.
Can I be honest? I enjoyed Irishman.
Yeah,
it's a great film.
Yeah.
I think I'm more of Goodfellas. That's my jam.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
don't know. I got to rewatch it because my thing is I can't watch a 3-hour gangster film with my 2-year-old, and I had to watch it in pieces. So maybe if I watched it full on, but that's just that's the nature of the beast. The nature of the beast. But
to kind of get
that
back
is insane
into it,
though.
To kind of get back into it now that we're sitting here discussing it, I'm very thankful I saw this movie in theaters, and I'm very happy everyone could join us for the giant discussion about it because. This has been something Jerry and I have been very passionate about. I mean, he made me call him immediately after I left that theater. If not that night, I think the next day we talked on the phone about the whole thing. So I don't know. This movie
that was Rise of Skywalker, wasn't it?
Or did we talk about Knives Out? We talked about Knives Out too in November, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh, maybe we did.
I think we did.
Yeah, we must have because Allison didn't see it, and it's a whodunit, so I didn't want to like ruin it.
No.
She wanted to see. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Dude.
It's one of those movies I told my mom and dad. Like I told my mom, like you got to go see it, and she went and saw it, and she loved it. So like, it's one of those movies that I'm
probably going to show my parents when they come up to visit at the end of this month. I mean, it's a movie.
It's a shareable movie.
It's a movie to take people to.
Yes.
It's 100% shareable.
But to kind of close it out.
But you know what's more shareable?
What is?
Murder Mystery by Mr. Adam Sandler on Netflix right now. Go watch it. There you go. Full endorsement. Don't expect Kevin James or
Chris Rock or Norm MacDonald.
Chris Rock. I'm trying to think of. I can't believe I forget. I always blank on names.
David Spade.
I promise I know actors and stuff. David Spade. Yeah, don't expect David Spade or anybody. Kevin James to show up. But there's still. I like Mr. Deeds. I like Mr. Deeds. That's a good one.
Yeah. But
Knives Out's good too.
Knives Out's great, and thank you for everyone joining us. And we have a lot of stuff in store for you in the next week, and you have no idea how excited we are to announce this. Jerry, can you announce it? Because you're the one that kind of made it happen. Our next guest,
holy cow,
humongous for us.
Out of nowhere, Scotty and I, like we both we've been Star Wars nerds for a long time.
Yeah.
We. Before I even went to Celebration, I was listening to all these different podcasts. I was watching, friends of the podcast, Star Wars Explained, Alex and Molly and stuff.
TRB. Just these
we
people
would watch their stuff.
Yeah. That you
But
kinda,
like one of the, I don't know, like I'd say Alex and Molly are one of the biggest games on YouTube, and one of the other biggest games, I'd say they're like the top two, honestly.
Yeah, they are. These are.
I would say amongst our circles, they're the top two.
I don't watch any Star Wars theory or anything like that because
Star Wars theory, Star Wars up there. He's up there for sure because he reaches a little bit more of a massive.
Yes.
He reaches more of an audience of people who maybe don't like certain things.
Yes.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
He does it. He's fairly respectful.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to start anything. This is turning south. High note. Here we go. Guys, no. Next week, though, we are having just a YouTube legend, I would say, Mr. Hello Greedo on the show. Coming on here to just riff with me and Scotty. We're going to have a fun discussion about everyone's favorite topic, the special editions. And you guys know me and Scotty have been kind of teasing a conversation.
We have been.
About the special editions
since like our first
time.
Or second episode, if I'm not mistaken.
It's been a long time coming.
To give our quick information on it, I am not a fan of them. And I had only watched the special edition versions this past year. And I don't like them. And Jerry grew up with them,
which is insane to me because I was alive before you and saw the originals before the special editions.
And you still aren't mad.
Were born at the time of the special editions.
I know.
It's just insane to me that this ended up this way. It's like you're like a control subject in a test.
That's what I feel
like a laboratory test.
And I think he'll like that too because I know Alex really enjoyed it because he's like, I can't believe that, and I'm like, yes, I just never. I never had to see them. I never did because I had these VHSs and that was it.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and anyway, so you're not a big fan, and you just saw them, and I, and there's so many special. I'm gonna have to send you like the Blast Points does some good episodes on the differences and the changes and stuff.
Yeah.
We're going to have to start studying, guys, what we're saying.
We will be.
Because we're getting the big times. We're hitting the big times. But one of the things about me that most of you guys know is that I would probably die for Zhao Yaoza. I don't get it. I mean, I get it. But I also am like, how is he any different from the, like, two-headed alien announcer or Boss Nass or like
I agree.
I don't know. It's just like there's different things like that were in the prequels that I'm like, how is he different from any of that? It's just like, is it because you have to look down his throat at his like 2 or 3 uvulas? Is that like what I think that freaks people out or something? But anyway, so yeah, I'm a hashtag Greedo shot first kind of guy. I actually don't care.
No.
So McClunky bees. I don't know what I'm saying.
To kind of tie into the
McClunky fools.
The next thing, and please stay tuned for that episode. We're going to market that one a lot when this episode drops.
Market the heck. You've already seen stuff by this time.
Probably. And we're just stoked to have him on. He's someone we've been looking up to for years, and it's just cool to have a guest on like this. And trust us, you'll get a Bombad style episode out of it. It will not be as serious as our Bombad build-ups, and hopefully we'll have some other guests we had on then back to do some more silly ones with us as well. So that's the plan.
Scott, we're gonna make him cry. I don't know if you're listening to this, Mr. Greedo. May I call you Mr.? May I call you hello?
May I?
Hello. We're going to make you cry. So just anyway.
Hello.
Hello.
Back to Zhao Yaoza though. You got to plug the March Weirdness, man, before we get off this big old long train of discussion.
This Orient Express of discussion, if you will. See what I did there? It's murder mystery.
Good. Very good.
Callbacks. I'm the Ryan Johnson of the Bombadcast.
Oh, okay.
No. That's small potatoes over here. Anyway, yeah, guys, we are still chugging along with March Weirdness. Go check out our Twitter page if you haven't been. We're already 6 matchups in by the time you're listening to this. So go check it out. Man, again, my poor Zhao Yaoza sadly didn't make it out of the third
But Watt did.
matchup last Friday.
You know I voted for Watt.
And we're recording this on Sunday, so we have no clue what's going on with the matchups this week. But I'm sure it was, can you believe that guy won? Or gal? What the heck? Am I right? But no, guys, we're going to have a big episode coming up at the end of the month. The beginning of April probably is going to be dropping. First Friday in April. Maybe with some guests, we'll see. But we're going to have a big finale March Weirdness episode, me and Scotty Boy. So stay tuned. And keep voting. Share those polls with your friends, guys. We want to get a big, wide view on this thing.
Big old wide net.
It's important information we're going through.
Yes, we want to cast a big net for our fans. But if that's all we got to pretty much plug, y'all stay tuned for the Hella Great episode, and make sure you follow Bombadcast and join the Bombad fam on the Facebook. Jesus Christ.
On the book of on the Book of Faces.
On the Facebooks of
on
the digital photo album. Pretty much.
Yeah.
The digital newspaper. The local news.
Go follow the Bombadcast on the app that steals your identity and your personal information and uses deepfake technology to put your face on bank robbers who are stealing from the gun lobbyists. I'm Alex Jones. I'm gonna go drink a gopher smoothie.
Thank you. Alex Jones burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid man in my house. Sorry. I don't know what a gopher smoothie is, but I'm a little scared right now, Scott.
Yeah, no, Paul has remained very quiet. He lives right next door and he's been mailing me letters. And I don't know what to do. Literally, the woman who takes our mail. That's a
little horrifying.
Yeah, well, he puts a little red flag up. The woman, I've watched her. She takes the mail out of his and puts it in mine, and then she drives off. And Paul, I can see him looking through the window with his full makeup on. He taps on the glass and he waves, and I wave back, and he hasn't been talking. I haven't checked the letters. I don't know what they say, so I'm gonna go open those up. Probably right after this. Yeah, it's been weird. He hasn't been popping in.
Keep us posted.
I will. I definitely will. And he still tweets, and he tweets how he talks. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his tweets. I'll share some because it's hilarious. But
it's legit. Yeah.
It is legit. But yeah, no. Anyway, y'all can find me. I'm Scotty Jarrow on of course Twitter, where I do I can't speak. Just find me there. Jerry, where can I find you?
I'm not on Twitter anymore. DM me on Insta. You can find Scotty on Twitter at the Scotty J-Ro.
Yes.
Or at the Scott J-Ro.
Yes.
Man, forget me. You can find me. Sorry, I'm stepping on the gas. You can find me at the Canon Junkie, Jerry the Canon Junkie, on Twitter, at the Canon Junkie. I do that every time. You can follow us at Bombadcast on Twitter.
Yes.
Just Google Bombadcast on anything you find live human beings on, and you will find the Bombadcast.
I'm going to Google it right now.
Go for it. Maybe not Reddit, but I'm not entirely sure those are living beings. So, it is what it is.
That's a good one.
But anyway,
that's a good one.
Scotty, man, if you don't have anything else, my man,
I don't.
You know what, Scotty? What should the Bombad people do? What should the Bombad fam do on this glorious, glorious Bombad Friday?
If I'm not mistaken, hold. Paul's back.
Paul, you madman!
How's everyone doing? Look, it's me. I've been mailing Scotty letters. It's just got coupons of Ben and Jerry's Kiss flavored ice cream. And it's always in them, to be honest with you, Scott. It's nothing more than that. But look, I'm going to do can I sign off, Jerry?
Go for it, Paul.
Scotty,
Go for it.
Can I sign off?
I'm boarding up my wall so Alex Jones doesn't burst in as well.
Okay, stop talking, fat guy. I want you all to stay.
Rick. Shut up.
Bombay.
Fuchsia or Bombad.